Namaskar. Our very old Karyakarta, old not about him, old about his Karyakartahood. Dr. Bharat Barai ji, Shri Avtansh Kumar ji of Indica, dear friends, I am happy to be back in Chicago after about 5-6 years. I was here, I think, in 2016 once, and afterwards I could not come, anywhere beyond Washington, D.C. In the last couple of years, of course, because of this COVID, none of us have traveled outside. It is a great pleasure and honor to connect with all of you once again. Happy belated Diwali to all of you. And I realized that Avtanshi and many Biharis are also there, to happy Chhat also. Incidentally, on Chhat Puja day, I was in Bihar. It gives me a lot of pleasure to share some of the ground realities of our country, of our motherland, with all of you today. Bharat Barai ji was mentioning about the wonderful victories that the Hindu community is registering here in this country, whether it is about the proposed resolution against the CAA in Chicago's municipal council or the municipal body here. Is it municipal body or provincial council? City council, right? Or that whole drama about dismantling global Hindutva. In all these things, you have done stupendous job of taking wind out of the sails of those anti-Hindu forces, anti-India forces. I heartily congratulate all of you. The Hindu in America has not only woken up, he is standing up, which is quite a heartening thing for all of us. The situation in India also is similar. Hindu philosophy, Hindu idea, Hindutva has become or has occupied the center stage of India's national life today. There was a time 2 decades ago when India's polity was divided on the lines of secularists versus Hindutvavadis. But today, the tables have turned. It is the Hindutva idea, Hindutva philosophy, which is the dominant mainstream political thought, social thought in India, and all others have become fringe elements today. And so much so that today in India the debate is no longer about whether you are a secularist or a Hindu communalist. The whole debate is about whether you are a true Hindu or I am a true Hindu. Elections to Uttar Pradesh Assembly are going to take place shortly. Now the competition in Uttar Pradesh for political leaders is to prove that they are better Hindus than probably Yogi Adityanath has been. Not just in Uttar Pradesh. The Delhi Assembly has in its budget sanctioned money for free pilgrimage to all the elderly people in Delhi to Ayodhya for Ram Lala's darshan. And the first person to undertake that pilgrimage was none other than Mr. Kejriwal himself. So friends, we are the center stage today. We are the mainstream in India today.
Wow.
We have achieved whatever we wanted. We are achieving whatever, we are doing whatever we want. We have done away with Article 370. And you know what happened when we have done away with it? You know, obviously I have handled that state for 6 years, so all the politicians are known to me very closely. One very senior politician of the local party, not fair on my part to name him, he told me in privacy, he said, Ramadhaji, what is my biggest grievance is not that you have removed Article 370. We knew you would do it one day. But our grievance is when it was removed. We had hoped that the Congress party would stand by us, the Samajwadis would stand by us, and we now find that we are simply isolated. There is not a single political voice in the entire country to stand up and say what BJP had done, what Modi ji had done is wrong. There is nobody there for us today. This is what speaks of the political climate in India. We are building Ram Temple. We are building Char Dham. We are renovating Char Dham. Prime Minister personally oversees minutest details of reconstruction of Char Dham temples. If you happen to go to Varanasi anytime next in your visits, you will see a new Varanasi. From the Sanctum Sanctorum, you will see Gangaji. That's the kind of magnificent transformation that the temple, Vishwanath Ji's temple is undergoing today. Again under direct supervision of Honorable Prime Minister. We are now thinking, working in terms of freeing Indian temples from the clutches of governments, mostly the state governments. Why I am mentioning all these things is first of all to request you for two things. One, behave as strong Hindus now. Get out of that old attitude of victimhood. So much is happening from our thinking, our point of view, in India, in USA. Yet some of us are still in that victimhood syndrome. We are stuck in that syndrome. We have to get out of it. For that, there is one condition. The second thing that I wanted to mention to you, one thing that we all must realize, that only the trees that bear fruits get stones. If we are criticized by New York Times, if we are criticized by BBC, if there are attempts to malign you in Chicago City Council, Los Angeles City Council, it is because you are the mainstream, you are strong. That's why it is happening. Remember, first of all, that. Secondly,
there is a bill in the Senate to declare Diwali as a holiday.
So many things are happening. So many about Diwali, about other things. You are very right. Today, Hindu culture, not just we, those who are not Indians, not Hindus, they now feel proud to wear it on their sleeves. That's the picture we see everywhere, not just in America, UK, Australia. Australian Parliament celebrates Diwali. Governments are declaring Diwali as a holiday in many countries. We are today a highly respected community, highly respected culture, highly respected people. So don't continue to creep. Don't continue to remain crybabies. Look at challenges from the position of strength. as mainstream, how do we handle these challenges? Then you will find a different answer. Today, having reached the mainstream, now we have to, in our Indian language there is a word, we have, we call it Purushartha. We have to approach all the challenges that not just Hindus we face, but the whole world faces with Purushartha. Nearest English translation is with proactiveness. In India, I can assure you, it's going to be a very bright future for the country, for the community, for the culture, and for the civilization. Don't worry about it. I can assure you, country, culture, civilization is in safe hands, and it's going to be in safe hands for the next 15 years. Don't worry. As I say, we have very strong leaders who on whose shoulders this journey, successful journey, will continue to go on. Modi ji hai, Amit Shah ji hai, Rahul Gandhi ji bhi hai. Don't worry about it. Our borders are safe. Okay, there is China. But do you know, China has had the shock of its lifetime when it tried to encroach into our territory this time. And for that matter, you all know that it's not new for India to have this nibbling business from China. China has encroached upon our territory for many decades now. It continues to do that. It nibbles away border areas. What we used to do in the past was when they come and take over our territories, we would engage with them diplomatically to find a solution. China is a very, very shrewd country. They had a very famous strategic thinker called Sun Tzu, who authored the famous book called The Art of War. They follow him in their warfare. So one of the lessons of Sun Tzu was, which China follows, is what I occupy is mine, what I claim is to be debated. Like I take over some place, it's not mine, I won't talk about it. But then I claim something more, on that I debate with you. So we used to debate with them over the areas that they claim to be theirs, Arunachal Pradesh, something else, this valley, that valley. But for the first time, when they tried it out, this time in 2017, first at Dokla, we simply moved 2 battalions. And mind you, Chinese had to stop work and go back. And this time, in 2020, when they tried to cross the LAC, LAC is an imagined line, okay? There's no such demarcation, mutually agreed upon demarcation. But what we consider as LAC, when they tried to cross into our side, we physically positioned our soldiers, our army, to stop them. They thought that they can scare us away. They brought 40,000 soldiers. We brought 50,000. They brought field guns. We also brought field guns. They brought aircraft. We also brought aircraft. For the first time, we are dealing with China not only at the diplomatic level, but on the ground, we are standing firm against them. So our borders are safe. Nation's integrity is final after the abrogation of Article 370. Country's integrity is full and final today. And there used to be some worry about India's northeast, some insurgent movements here and there. Do you know, today of the 8 northeastern states, 7 have BJP-led or BJP participated government. Remember, where there is BJP, there is of course a BJP flag, but together with it, there is always a national flag. For us, nation comes first. India's remotest corner, you go to Nagaland, the Myanmar's border, there is a BJP MLA there, and in his villages, you have national flags fluttering on the borders of India today. So the borders are safe. We have challenges. Okay, today, Taliban, its rise in Afghanistan, could give some challenge to India in terms of security. But I happened to be in Kashmir. I asked our corps commander there, sir, do you foresee any trouble? So he said something very interesting. He said, Madhav ji, aisa hai ki there will be trouble. No doubt. There will be some moral booster for terrorists. But we have already done not just PhDs, we have done, delete in tackling terrorism. Don't worry. We will tackle them. It's no longer the India of 1990s. It's the India of 2020s. It is no longer the India of Manmohan Singh. It is the India of Modi. So country is safe, its borders are safe, country's integrity is safe, culture is safe, civilization is safe. What better situation do we want? So first of all, look at this scenario from this optimistic prism. Then the whole approach changes. What we need today is a change in approach. What is the problem with some of you? Let me be frank here. Sitting very far away from India, keep cribbing, keep complaining, keep criticizing Modi ji. Ye nahi kar rahe, wo nahi kar rahe. Education abhi bhi change nahi kiya. Who said? Complete freedom in education today under National Education Policy 2021. Today, curriculum freedom is given. Now, for the people who are running institutions, who are involved in academia, for them to now utilize this opportunity, introduce right things, teach right history, teach right values. That is the way to go about. You cannot have any better situation in India than what you have today. So first of all, look at it from that prism. And you will have a totally different approach coming to your mind. When you are in strength, when you are strong, your approach to adversities also should change, friends. When you are weak, you are scared of them. When you are weak, you have to find ways to fight with them. But when you are strong, you should find ways to assimilate and digest them. Not hate them. So today's approach should be different. Whether it is the minorities in India or those who criticize us. And even about those who criticize us, let me tell you something. Those who criticize us are in a very irrational way. Those people who write irrational articles, irrational writings, have takers only in New York Times, Washington Post readership, not in India. They have no takers in India. They are not to be seen in any Indian papers. They are not to be seen in any Indian media house, television debates. Because there are no takers for them. People don't want to listen to that rubbish. But there are places where even rubbish can pass off. They are mostly there in Washington and New York. Don't get agitated by seeing a couple of articles in New York Times or Washington Post. Look at how you tackle them. First of all, don't see it as weakness. That's my whole point. अरे हम क्या कर रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, लिख रहे हैं। यार वो ये इसलिए लिख रहे हैं क्योंकि वहां कुछ नहीं कर पा रहे वो लोग। All that they can do is to write a column once in a month in New York Times here. Otherwise, they cannot do anything in India. Not now. Next 15 years, I'm saying they cannot do anything. When you are there, you have to approach the challenges from that mindset of strength. So when you are strong, you don't have to hate anybody. India had the history. Hindu society had the history of welcoming everybody from everywhere, internalizing them, absorbing them. Where is Cain? We had difficult situation for 1,000 years, I agree. We were under the political power of certain religious groups. But it's no longer the case. Today's approach should be to win over communities, win over people, not push them away. Because as far as at least India is concerned, let me tell you something that you all know. I'm not saying revealing anything new. That every single Indian Muslim and Indian Christian is from our own stock. In the course of history, for historical reasons, they changed their religion. They may not understand that change of religion doesn't uproot them from their history, from their ancestors. They may not realize, but you and I should never forget. Our effort should be to drill it into their minds. So that is why when RSS chief says that our DNA is one, okay, scientifically maybe one can disagree with him, no, DNA can be one for entire South Asia. But the spirit is, okay, we are one people. If we are one people, what is this whole discourse about Hindu and a-Hindu? Who is a Hindu? At least for us I am saying, who is a Hindu? Nobody. What is left is to convince them that no, you are not separate from us, you are a part of us. Earlier it was difficult, but it continues to be difficult for us with many Hindus also. You know the biggest challenge for Hindu issues or Hindu agenda doesn't come from non-Hindus, it comes from Hindus only. Yes. So you still have a mission to accomplish with Hindus themselves. Then why complain about others? So with everybody, the approach now should be Sarvesham Avirodhena. Meaning, we don't have any enemies. We don't hate anybody. If you hate us, we have the capacity to remove that hate from you. Because we today are strong, yeah, we will take all of you in. You can't imagine what's happening in India. There were Muslim groups competing with each other to support government on Ram Janmabhoomi. I told you, there are no groups in the entire country that are standing up for those separatist fellows in Kashmir. When Farooq Abdullah and some other politicians were kept under preventive detention for 6-8 months, not a single sympathetic voice was raised by anybody in the valley. In fact, funny things used to happen. When I would go there, when I would ask people there, they used to tell me, "Sir, आपने अच्छा किया है, जल्दी छोड़िए मत, रखिए वहाँ, let them be there. For as long as you can keep them in." Okay, the agenda never was to keep them in for any longer duration. So in 6 months' time, majority got freedom and came out. But my point is, Farooq Abdullah Saab's own sister gave a call for a large protest against the arrests. She announced a march in Srinagar city against the arrests. When she actually went to start the march, there were 5 people. 3 were relatives, 2 others. This is what's happening in Kashmir, friends. Where are we? What are we complaining about? So, look at the situation from very pragmatic prism. We are the mainstream. Remember that. Now, if you are the mainstream in the country, you have to now approach the challenges from the point of strength, but also you have an important role to play globally also. My book is largely about that global role. I will just take 5-7 minutes to talk about my book, and afterwards I will stop and I will be at your mercy. India has been a land of ideas. We are not a land of ideologies and all. We are a land of ideas. India has not produced any ideologues like Marx and Mill. They only produced philosophers like Adi Shankara, Ramanuja, Aurobindo, Vivekananda, Gandhi. These were all philosophers. They were not ideologues. Ideologies are closed set of ideas. Somebody gives you a set of ideas and says, you follow this, you will get salvation. That is ideology. But its DNA is only to give ideas. World needs ideas from time to time. When world orders get formed, it is at that time that world looks for good, noble ideas. One such transformation in the world happened after the Second World War. In our known history I am talking about. In the history many times world has changed. One such thing happened immediately after the Second World War. A new world order got built over 1 or 2 decades. At that time, the intellectuals of the world were seeking ideas from all over. In fact, they were seeking ideas even from India. When UN Human Rights Council was working on drafting a human rights charter, letters were sent to all the eminent people in the world. One such letter was sent to Nehru also. Can you tell us from your own wisdom as to what will be the human rights that we should incorporate in the charter? Nehru wrote back saying, yeah, I am busy. I don't have time. I have to run my country or probably build my country. So I can't give you any reply. I don't have time for it. This is exactly what he wrote. I don't have time for it. But what I will do is I will forward it to Gandhiji. Probably Nehru meant Gandhiji had all the time at his disposal, but Gandhiji was never an idle person. But Gandhiji, in the true Indic tradition, always represented quintessential Indian Hindu ideas. These days it is fashionable to condemn Gandhi also. Every leader in our country, especially leaders like Gandhi and others, in their own time, in their own period, had contributed enormously to India's rise as a civilizational nation. Don't forget it. Finding fault with everybody and anybody is a fashionable, a pastime for many intellectuals today. Some of them are amongst us also. But Gandhi, sitting in a train while traveling, he sends a reply to the leaders of Human Rights Council by saying, look, what I have learned from my culture and my grandmother was that in India, there is no singular rights discourse. It is always hyphenated with the duties discourse. So for us, any discourse is rights and duties discourse. A great idea. Another matter, that UNHRC did not take his idea, his suggestions. They built the entire edifice based on European experience and European thinking. Fair enough. So when the new world order was being built, the only idea in the last century that could influence the thinking in the new world order was Gandhiji's Ahimsa and Satyagraha. Non-violence and truthful resistance. नेल्सन मंडेला से लेकर बराक ओबामा तक, मार्टिन लूथर किंग तक. It has influenced many people. It became integral to the political lexicon of the world even to this day. Non-violence is a very respected idea. But where was it before 1947, before Gandhiji? It was not there. It was taken from Hindu scriptures by Gandhiji, from Bhagavad Gita by Gandhiji, transmitted to the world. World had accepted it last century. That was the only contribution we have made towards thinking in the last century. Friends, the last point, a new world order is taking shape post the COVID. We have entered into a phase in the history of mankind where in the next 10 years you see a new world order being built. And in this new world order, the new agenda items will be not the old ones that we have seen in the last 7 decades, like trade, commerce, security, military. Those were the issues that had dominated the last 7 years of our discourse. But the new world order will be about climate issues, climate change. How do we secure the mankind from the dreadful fallout of our actions with respect to nature and universe? It's going to be a major agenda item in the new world order. It is going to define our relations. Healthcare is going to take a new form. The earlier idea of healthcare as virus management, disease management is going to be replaced by the idea of healthcare means healthy living, not disease management. A totally new idea. So yoga will become popular, Ayurveda will become popular, herbal medicine will become popular. If you sit cross-legged in New York Central Park, half an hour you close your eyes, open your eyes, you will have 500 disciples waiting for you. Because sitting cross-legged is a big yogic posture for them. Healthy living is going to be the agenda for the mankind. Technology is going to generate a lot of debates today. You are entering, or you have rather entered into areas of frontier technology, artificial intelligence, robotics, big data, digital currencies, a new world where we are now entering a phase where instead of man controlling technology, technology will control the man. You know, I always tell these drones that we use nowadays all over, even in India we are using drones. Until now, if a drone was to go and kill Osama bin Laden, that drone used to be controlled by somebody sitting in Chicago or Atlanta. We used to watch in movies. The ethical questions that they face, sometimes they stop the attack because they find an innocence there. Now the new concept is, drones need not have anybody to control them. They will have their own artificial mind. You feed data about Osama bin Laden, wahi dhundenge, wahi pakdenge, wahi marenge. When they do that, do they have what you call as the power of discrimination? Power of discretion? वहाँ 4 बच्चे हैं, वो सोचेंगे क्या? मार डालेंगे? So the perils of new technology, who will talk about it? A new 4th agenda item is going to be about rights. Rights discourse is going to take new forms. There will be talk about, earlier at least we used to have talk about minorities or women. This used to be the talk about the rights. Today there will be rights about the most marginalized sections or smallest sections, like lesbians, gays, animals. Even within the animals, cat rights organizations will be there, dog rights organizations will be there. A new discourse about the individual's role is going to come up. Are we ready to participate in this debate, in this new discourse? We have so much wisdom to share with this world. We have to proactively get into this discourse today. My question is, are we anywhere near this? Are we willing to engage in debates like human rights? और हम ये कहेंगे नहीं तो हमारे हिंदू संस्कृति में अधिकारों का कोई प्रश्न ही नहीं पैदा होता है, ऐसा दूर करोगे तो the youngster sitting here also will walk out. Forget about those who have not come here so far. You have to look at the whole discourse afresh. Do you know the entire Rigvedic literature is about rights of every section of our society? Do you know that? It's about rights. Read Rishi Aurobindo's speech on 15th August 1947 when India became independent. That day, it was his birthday also. So he gave an interview to Tiruchinappalli All India radio station. In that he says two things. You know, freedom, liberty, individual endeavor, individual effort to rise is the fundamental desire of every human being. You must respect it. What does it mean? Every individual's urge for freedom and rights must be respected. That is Hinduism. But he says, but there is second aspect, that we also must respect unity. Unity at the society level, unity at the level of creation. Unity with nature, unity with the divine, unity at the societal level. So we are not against individual rights. We are for them. So this core Hindu idea needs to be articulated by us today. Prime Minister is doing it. He will come and talk about integral humanism at the United Nations. How many of us know about it? We are stuck in old discourse. You need to now become active interventionists, not mute spectators. Active interventionists in this evolving new world order. That is an important role that is being offered to us. These occasions come from time to time in the history of humanity. I mentioned to you, one occasion came 7 decades ago. We could not participate because we were a newly independent nation. We were struggling with our own affairs. But today, when you are the center, you are the mainstream of India, we are at the center stage of India's national life, we cannot give that excuse. Today, we need to actively engage in this global discourse and leave the imprints of our great cultural civilizational wisdom on this newly evolving world order. With this Purushartha, we should approach to the existing problems of our country, our community, but the entire mankind. Thank you, Namaskaram.